Ghost of Tsushima is a title that received much acclaim and positive reviews, and with the sequel soon to be released, I wanted to play it and get the Platinum Trophy. There are 52 trophies we need to get for the Platinum. 12 of these are for the main story, 6 trophies for side mission completion, 7 combat-related trophies, 15 for collectibles and map completion, 11 trophies that don't quite fit into the other categories, and of course the Platinum Trophy at the end. And to begin, we start with the main story. The game begins in 1274 as Tsushima Island faces an overwhelming invasion by the Mongol Empire. We play as Jin Sakai, a young samurai and nephew of Lord Shimura, Jito, or the governor of Tsushima. They ride into battle with 80 other samurai to defend Komoda Beach. The clash between the samurai and the Mongols is brutal and very one-sided. The Mongols, led by the brutal Kublai Khan, are well prepared, using overwhelming numbers to massacre the samurai. Jin is gravely wounded and left for dead, while Lord Shimura is captured. Jin awakens, rescued from the battlefield by Yuna, a skilled thief who stitches his wounds and hides him from the Mongols. Though still physically shattered by the defeat, Jin is determined to rescue his uncle. The village they are located in comes under attack by more Mongolians. Jin and Yuna sneak through the village to find Jin's sword and to escape. Jin finds his sword, and we witness a flashback to Jin as a child being trained by Lord Shimura. Eventually, Jin and Yuna find horses and escape, heading to Castle Kaneda to rescue Lord Shimura. And we unlock the trophy Gathering Storm for recovering the Clan Sakai katana. They fight through the castle, eventually leading to a bridge where Lord Shimura is being held on the other side. Kublai Khan reveals himself and he and Jin fight. Jin gets absolutely destroyed by the Khan and is thrown off the bridge. We then witness another flashback and see the young Jin witness his father being killed and the preceding funeral. Jin wakes up on the beach below and heads off to find Yuna. Jin suggests getting more help to take the castle. Yuna agrees to help Jin rescue Shimura, but wants help rescuing her brother first, as he is a blacksmith who can help create something to climb the walls of the castle. After this, Jin rides off to recruit his first ally. Our first task is to rescue Taka, Yuna's brother. Jin and Yuna scout out a Mongol camp, and Yuna suggests to sneak in and silently kill.
We better stay quiet and open their throats.
Something that, as a samurai, Jin deems as dishonorable. But he heads in anyway and silently takes out a patrolling Mongolian soldier, and we witness a flashback. Jin and his uncle, Lord Shimura, are looking out for a bear when an assassin tries to take out Lord Shimura. Jin is then tasked with dispatching justice against the assassin, and then we go back to Jin taking out the Mongol. Jin continues through the camp, taking out all the Mongols silently, and he rescues a Straw Hat, a trained swordsman that's often used as mercenaries. And they get information that Taka is being held in somewhere called Azamo Bay. After this, we get the trophy Point of No Return for breaking the samurai code to help Yuna. Jin heads to a nearby house to meet up with Yuna and also meets Kenji, a local merchant, to discuss how to enter Azamo Bay to rescue Taka. Kenji suggests to hide in a cart to enter the city under the guise of selling sake to the Mongols. The plan works, with Jin and Yuna getting inside. They run along the rooftops, following the local Mongol in charge, and try to find Taka. They eventually find Taka, and Yuna takes out the Mongol. They then flee over the wall and make their escape. And we unlock the trophy Stoking the Flame for rescuing Taka. Up next, Jin wants to recruit Sensei Ishikawa, a legendary archer. Jin finds him on his cliffside home, and Ishikawa agrees to help. However, he has need for some help himself. He wants Jin to help track down a former student of his who has gone rogue. They both head to a nearby Mongol camp to clear it out, and on further inspection, it's revealed to be an archer training camp that Ishikawa's student, Tomoe, has set up to train Mongols. Jin then heads off to find Lady Masako, a noblewoman from Clan Adachi. Jin finds her at her family estate laying in ruins and her family all dead. She believes that this was not the Mongols and wants her help finding those responsible. Jin and Masako head to a local temple in order to find a lead. Jin talks to a monk who offers Masako shelter, however Masako does not believe him, so she and Jin trail the monk to a nearby hideout where the same group that attacked her home are hiding. She and Jin take them out, and then Jin discovers a list of co-conspirators and vows to help Masako bring them to justice. Jin then seeks out help from the Straw Hats and finds Ryozo, an old friend of Jin's, and asks for his help. After an attack by Mongols, they head to a nearby camp and meet the others. Ryozo agrees to help Jin under the condition that Jin gets the food for the Straw Hats at Fort O'Hira. The two head to the fort and search it for food, finding nothing. However, they see a Mongolian ship in the distance and theorize that the food may have been put on board. The two steal a boat and head towards the ships. They fight their way through the boats and eventually Jin finds the food at the end. However, Ryozo is under attack by a huge Mongolian, which Jin helps to dispatch. Another ship approaches them, both firing on the ship and setting it on fire, along with all the food on board. And after the mission is complete, we unlock the trophy Company of Wolves for recruiting the Straw Hats. With allies recruited, it's time for Taka to create the tool for Jin to use in the assault on Castle Kaneda. Jin heads to the town of Komatsu, where a local blacksmith forge is located, and finds it under attack by Mongolians. Jin helps defend the locals, going back into town, rescuing more, and then defending the forge against a horde of Mongolians at the end. So, with everything ready for the assault, Jin and his forces, minus the Straw Hats, who didn't turn up, are gathered outside the castle and Jin enters via the side. Using the grappling hook along the way, Jin fights his way through the castle grounds, silently taking out Mongolians along the way, when finally he is confronted by Ryozo. He has turned on Jin as his men need food, and the Mongolians have agreed to pay them for Jin's head.
The Khan put a bounty on the ghost. My men are starving, Jin.
And the two duel. Jin defeats Ryozo, but Mongolians arrive before Ryozo can fall. Jin fights more Mongolians and heads into the main castle and finds his uncle, Lord Shimura. The two then exit and fight even more Mongolians together, and eventually joined by Jin's allies. And after defeating them all, we get the trophy Family Reunion for rescuing Lord Shimura. Jin and Lord Shimura then leave, heading north to Fort Ito to relight the lighthouse there as a message to the Khan and fight their way through the camp. After lighting the flame, Lord Shimura tells Jin that he wants him to find a man called Goro to sneak away from the island and get a message to the Japanese shogun to send reinforcements and to recruit more people to aid in fighting back the Mongolians. Jin then talks to Norio, a warrior monk who also agrees to join the fight. Jin travels to Amaki Cove, a pirate den, to find Goro, and upon reaching the cove, we unlock the trophy Den of Thieves. Jin finds Goro and he agrees to send the message via boat, but in order for him to leave, he'll need the Mongolians out of the way. And to do this, Jin needs to take Fort Mitodake. He and Lord Shimura head there to fight through, taking out multiple groups of Mongolians along the way. The Mongolians fire a hwacha at them, and Jin makes that the main target. Jin wants to use the hwacha to attack the Mongolian ships. Jin fires it and sinks multiple boats, letting Goro sail out to the area and heading to the Japanese mainland. After seeing Goro through, Lord Shimura tells Jin that he wants to adopt him as his son and become his heir. Up next is recruiting the people of Yarikawa. Jin, Yuna and Taka arrive and see the town surrounded by Mongolians. They sneak past the Mongolian lines into a secret entrance and get inside. They speak to the Lord of Yarikawa, who has absolutely no interest in helping. Jin discovers that the best archers of Yarikawa have gone missing, so he and Yuna go searching for them, and discover them stalking a Mongolian camp with more of their archers taken as prisoner. They all decide to ambush the Mongolians and take back the prisoners, recruiting them for the Yarikawa siege. And back in Yarikawa, the siege has begun. Jin and his allies defend the main gate until the Mongolians retreat, only to reveal siege weapons on the hill opposite the town. Jin rushes towards them and fights the Mongolians manning them and eventually destroys the trebuchets. Jin returns to the town and fights his way to the main keep, cutting down Mongolians along the way, eventually coming across the siege leader himself and fights him in a duel. After defeating him, we unlock Ghost Stance, and after slaughtering him, we activate it and destroy 3 Mongolians, and rally the rest of our allies to fight back the Mongolians. And with that, Yarikawa is saved, and they will now aid Jin and Lord Shimura. And we unlock the trophy Leader of the People for saving and recruiting Yarikawa. After this, Jin heads back to his home, looking for his family set of armor. Jin talks to Yuriko, the caretaker, and obtains the armor, and this unlocks the trophy Birthright for getting the armor. Jin then gets a lead on where to find Ryozo. Lord Shimura tells him where he is, and Jin heads to the location. Taka provides a distraction to lure away most of the guards, and Jin heads in, taking out more Mongolians along the way, before finally confronting Ryozo. But Jin is hit in the back of the head and knocked out. Jin wakes to find himself tied to a post opposite Taka. The Khan arrives and gives Taka an opportunity to live, but he has to kill Jin to do so. Taka refuses and takes a swing at the Khan, who promptly kills him. Jin eventually frees himself and takes out the Straw Hats in the area, eventually linking back up with Yuna, who finds her dead brother, and the two fight off more Straw Hats and Mongols. The two bury Taka, and we unlock the trophy Dying Embers. So with allies in hand, it is now time to attack Castle Shimura and retake it. Jin, alongside Lord Shimura and his allies, and more samurai and reinforcements from the mainland, attack the castle. They push further and further inside until Jin takes out one of the leaders in a brutal fashion, his uncle deeming it dishonorable.
Face them as a warrior with honor.
The fight continues, and Jin uses one of the Hwacha to destroy more Mongols and clear the way for his allies, eventually reaching the bridge to the main keep. As samurai cross the bridge, the Mongols launch flaming horse carts full of explosives onto the bridge, killing many samurai and destroying the bridge in the process. Lord Shimura is stubborn and wants to continue the attack as planned. However, Jin suggests using poison to take out the enemy, which Lord Shimura again deems as incredibly dishonorable. Jin, against his uncle's wishes, continues with the poison plan. He sneaks into the keep at night and heads through the castle grounds, eventually finding the horse milk they're drinking, and poisons it, killing off all the Mongols. He heads into the keep to confront the Khan, however he's not there, and Jin is instead met by Ryozo, and a duel breaks out. With Ryozo defeated, the samurai enter the keep grounds, and Lord Shimura isn't angry, he's just disappointed, which is of course like 100 times worse. And we get the trophy The Ghost for completing the mission. Jin is imprisoned for his actions, but manages to escape with the help of Kenji. Jin manages to steal a horse and rides it out of the castle grounds, his horse barely making it out before it collapses sometime later in a frozen, burnt-out wasteland. Jin makes his way to a predetermined spot to meet up with Yuna, but is ambushed by more Mongols, but Yuna manages to get him to safety. They make their way to a temple to use it as a base of operations for attacking the Khan, but it is currently under occupation by those Mongols. They destroy them with some incredibly convenient explosive barrels in the middle of a frozen-over lake, and mop up the rest inside the temple grounds. Next, Jin and Yuna head to a nearby fortress to help cut off supply lines to the Khan's new base of operations, Port Izumi. Jin talks to a friend of Yuna's who agrees to help infiltrate the fort. They all attack the fort, taking out all the Mongols along the way, before finally regrouping with Jin's other allies. And after this, we unlock the trophy The Exiled Alliance for reuniting with our allies. Jin and Yuna head to Port Izumi to scout it out and plan an attack. They both head towards a lighthouse overlooking the port, sneaking around multiple guards before they finally get inside. And inside, Jin finds the same poison that he used against the Mongols. And they reach the top of the lighthouse and scout out the town. Jin believes that they need more allies for the attack, so he has the idea of leaving a message for his uncle, telling him of the attack in hope that they will join him. Jin heads back south to Castle Shimura and sneaks inside, eventually getting to his uncle's chamber and placing the message. And with that done, we only have 2 main missions left, so we're going to pause it here and get to the other trophies done before we continue. First of all, we have the companion side missions. These are a series of side missions for several of our companions, Yuna, Ishikawa, Masako, and Norio. For Yuna, we help her destroy a slave camp by killing off the people running it, and find out that she was once a slave here with her brother. We then help her track down and kill the man responsible, known as the Black Wolf, and then we track down a Mongol leader known as Altan, who was paying the Black Wolf for slaves, and we take him out in a duel. After this, we complete Yuna's storyline, and we get the trophy, the Headstrong Thief. Norio's story involves saving and rescuing other monks, taking back and defending temples, and getting revenge for the death of Norio's friends. And after completing his storyline, we get the trophy, the Warrior Monk. Next is Lady Misako, the head of the Ariachi clan. During the initial attack on the beach at the start of the game, her family was killed by what she believes to be traitors from within. We help her follow leads and clues to uncover who was behind the attack, eventually leading to Misako's sister, who confesses to organising the attack out of jealousy, and Misako takes her life. This unlocks the trophy, the Vengeful Warrior, for completing Misako's story. And the final character storyline that has a trophy is Sensei Ishikawa, whose former student Tomoe has been training Mongols in archery. Ishikawa and Jin hunt down Tomoe, destroying her training camps before Jin eventually finds Tomoe, who now wishes to stop the Mongols as she is no longer needed by them and fears for her safety. Ishikawa reluctantly agrees, and the three head to Omogi Cove, where the Mongols plan to attack to help defend it. During the battle, Tomoe goes missing and is seen from the coast on a ship by Jin and Ishikawa, heading to the Japanese mainland. This ends Ishikawa's story, and we get the trophy, the Unbending Archer. There are several more side missions in the game, and we need to beat all of them for the platinum. There are 61 in total, including the character missions. They pretty much all involve killing bandits or Mongols at a location, and then returning back to the mission giver. There is a second type of mission called Mythic Tales. These are more specialised missions with greater rewards at the end, such as fighting techniques or new armour. And when we complete 7 of these, we get this trophy, Teller of Tales. And with all the mythic, normal, and character tales completed, we gain the trophy Helping Sword Hand for completing every side mission in the game. Combat is, of course, one of the main focuses of the game, and has a number of trophies related to it, including Flash of Steel for defeating 20 enemies with counterattacks after a perfect parry, Witness Protection for shooting a terrified enemy with an arrow while they're fleeing, All in the Wrist for defeating the maximum amount of enemies within a single standoff, Open for Business for successfully staggering enemies 50 times, Have a Nice Fall for killing an enemy with full damage by knocking them off of a ledge, and Haunting Precision for killing 20 enemies with Ghost Stance strikes. As this is an open world game, there is of course trophies related to map cleanup. You have to pretty much do the entire map for the platinum, which includes these trophies. There are 8 lighthouses around the entire map. We have to climb the ladder for each one, and upon lighting them, we get the trophy Light the Way for lighting all 8 lighthouses. There are 16 shrines in the game. These are parkour challenges and end with a unique charm and some rare materials when we complete them. And upon completion of the last shrine, we unlock the trophy Favour of the Kami. There are a lot of hidden altars across Tsushima Island. They're not marked on the map, and the only indication is a small sign next to the location. And we need to use 10 of these to unlock the trophy Honour the Unseen. Pillars of Honour are another collectible we have to get. These are stone pillars around the map, and give sword customization options. And we get Lost and Found for finding the first pillar. There are 2 collectibles where we don't have to get all of them to unlock the trophies. These are Reports and Mongolian Artifacts, and we need 20 of each to unlock the trophies, Avid Reader for Reports, and Know Your Enemy for the Mongol Artifacts. But there are a lot more things that we need to collect. Haikus are poems that Jin crafts when in meditation. Inari Shrines, these are fox shrines, you just follow a fox around to the shrine and use it. Hot Springs, these are dotted around the map, and when used give Jin a small health increase. And Bamboo Stands, these are bot and combo minigames, and we have to do all of them. All of these are collected to unlock a single trophy, which we won't get until near the very end of the game. For the final section of map cleanup, we have to liberate the entirety of Tsushima Island. The island is covered by Mongol and bandit camps of varying sizes, from small camps of about 6 to 7 to entire forts of 40 enemies, for a total of 57 camps, and there are 7 trophies related to clearing all of them. Hero of the People for liberating 12 occupied areas of Izuhara, a Fight for the Isle for liberating all occupied areas of Izuhara, Good Riddance for liberating 8 occupied areas in Toyotama, and Securing Sanctuary for liberating all areas in Toyotama. Mass Eviction for liberating 7 occupied areas in Kamiyagata. And the final trophy, we'll be getting towards the final mission, so not quite yet. There are a few other trophies that don't quite fit in with the rest of the categories, and these include the Ghost of Legend for reaching maximum rank, which is rank 10. Quick Study for learning all of the stances in the game. These are different stances you use against different weapon types in fights. Every Trick in the Book for acquiring all throwable weapons. The Perfect Storm for fully upgrading our sword. The Charming Man for equipping charms in all 6 slots. Gifted for collecting 10 gifts. Monochrome Masters for purchasing dyes from the black and white dye merchants. Cooper Clan Cosplayer for dressing up as Sly Cooper. It's not a great resemblance, is it? Dirge of the Fallen Forge for playing Lament of the Storm at a friend's grave. A Moment in Time for personalising a scene in photo mode. And Slay for acquiring 30 pieces of vanity gear. And with everything else in the game done, we have the final 2 missions left to play. Jin and his allies begin their assault on a village on the outskirts of Port Azumi. Fighting through many Mongols, Jin's allies attack the main gate, creating a distraction for Jin to sneak into the port unnoticed, heading towards a guard tower to get a better look at the surroundings. Lord Shimura arrives with the other samurai just in time, and Jin makes his way through the port towards the Khan, fighting more Mongols along the way. Jin reaches the courtyard and faces down the Khan, beginning a duel. The duel ends in a stalemate as the Khan flees to his ship and Jin follows, taking out more Mongols along the way. The final confrontation begins. The Khan and other Mongols face down Jin aboard the boat. And Jin eventually defeats the Khan. Jin and Yuna ride away, with her telling Jin that Lord Shimura wants to meet him. And we unlock 3 trophies. Sovereign End for defeating the Khan. A new safe haven for defeating all Mongol outposts in the Kamigata region. And a Master Liberator for defeating all enemy outposts in the game. Jin heads to his family's home to find Lord Shimura. They head to the Sakai graveyard and Jin writes a final haiku. And we unlock the trophy Body, Mind and Spirit for completing all Hot Springs, Haikus, Inari Strikes and Bamboo Strikes. And one final duel between Jin and Lord Shimura begins. And as Jin defeats Lord Shimura, we unlock the trophy There Can Only Be One for completing every duel in the game. Jin is given the opportunity to kill or spare Lord Shimura and chooses to spare him, leaving and never to be seen again as he's not in the second game. And we unlock the last 2 trophies, Mono no Aware for completing the final mission, and of course the Platinum Trophy, Living Legend. And with that, the game is complete and the Platinum is ours. This is the second time that I've played through the game, and on the first playthrough, the game didn't quite click with me. However, this time, everything just seemed to flow together perfectly for me, and I loved every second of it, and I can't wait for Yotai in a few months. And if you are still here, thanks for watching.